Hello everybody, this is Will. I am back and I'm going to be doing a photo edit. This is actually a photo I have not edited before, and it is somewhat recent. This was a few months ago, taken in Zion National Park, and thankfully I actually, by this time in my career, knew how to take a photo in RAW, believe it or not. So this is captured in RAW. I'm just going to go through my editing process real quick. Cool. So let's go ahead and crop it down. I just think I'm just going to take away a little bit of the sky and just a tiny bit of the foreground. Come in a little bit. I like that right there. Just kind of gives this face, this rock face, a feeling of it being a lot stronger and taller is what I really meant to say. And so that's what I think I'll stick with. Always going to go back to white balance. I like to do auto. That's pretty good. The color looks super real. I think I'm going to add a tinge more of yellow, but I think I'm going to leave it as it is. As far as the exposure, I actually think it's well exposed as well. If I come brighter, I can make it look super bright, and if I go darker, I'll make it look dark. I think I'm going to stick with essentially just standard exposure. I think it was a well exposed shot for the most part. Contrast, definitely going to add some contrast to help these colors pop and these lines to stand out. Highlights, going back and forth. I think taking the highlights down a little bit is good. It kind of gives us more of this color up here and helps kind of the glare off this rock to simmer down a little bit. Shadows, I'm going to take away some shadows, kind of make them lighter. Whites, I think is pretty much fine as it is. And blacks, I am going to make the blacks a little bit darker. Gets these lines, these streaks kind of sticking out a little bit more. I will go ahead and add a little bit of clarity, which in my opinion is just basically additional contrast. And a touch of vibrance and saturation. I'm definitely going to be going into the colors specifically here. When you have here it makes it pretty easy. We have only like blue, purple, blue here. We have red and orange here. We have green at the bottom. So this is going to make it really easy to play with colors, especially when they're so separated like this. Our tone curve, going to mess with this a little bit. Honestly, this shot is kind of nice. I haven't needed to do too much. I think it looks pretty good. Trying to decide if I want more or less shadows. I think I like a little bit more punchy shadows. I'll skip color for right now. I'm not going into detail. I think I am going to add a little bit of sharpening to help these lines kind of stick out. And that's also the benefit of shooting in RAW now, is that when I'm editing these photos and I zoom in, I have incredible detail to work with. When with those JPEGs I was editing recently, this was much harder to work with. Cool. Noise reduction, I actually don't think I need to mess with any noise reduction. So you get noise, like essentially grain, when you add too much sharpening, or you can add grain, or maybe you took like a photo that was too dark for your sensor to handle and it created a bunch of grain, and that's noise reduction. But this is a pretty crisp photo. Maybe we can see what it looks like if I go like super high on noise reduction. Yeah, we didn't see anything that crazy here. That's because there isn't really a ton of noise in this. So don't need to worry about it. I will enable profile corrections. See, now that I'm shooting in RAW, it automatically just loads all my camera information, and I don't have to deal with selecting it like I did before. So we can go ahead and take a look at that. Boom. Awesome. I don't think I'm going to add any vignette. I don't think I'm going to add any grain. I think I might play with a little bit of dehaze. Yeah, I like that. Awesome. Cool. So that being said, let's jump into color. So I'm already here at red, so let me go ahead and just mess with this and see what happens. Okay, so I kind of like that punchier red over here. I don't want it to be too extreme. I really don't want to like make this look like some foreign landscape, but I do like to accent what I think makes the photo cool. Let's go to orange. So orange is clearly giving us the most kind of change in this photo. It's changing everything, even the chassis, loose rock down here. So I think I want to be kind of careful. I think I might just boost the saturation for now. Let's go into green. Okay. Not much change here, which tells me that it's picking up these leaves as yellow, I believe. Let's see what happens. Yeah, there you go. But that's also going to change some of the rock, so I don't want to mess with that. So for the sky, let's see if it's picking up any of the sky. It's not really changing the sky, so let's try blue instead of aqua. There we go. So this is kind of nice. Instead of having to go in with the adjustment brush and kind of change this color to the sky, because there's really nothing else that's this color, I can just kind of totally have fun with this right here. And I don't want to go totally teal because I think that look, I mean, it does look kind of cool, but it doesn't look real. So I want to dip that down. I think somewhere in there. And I think adding some saturation is good. Let's see what it looks like, taking away some luminance. Whoa. That does look cool, but wow. Look at this line we get right here. And it looks super fake. So let's go ahead and jump that way back. I think somewhere in there is going to be good. Cool. That being said, I think it's still a little too teal for me. Gonna balance it out a little bit more. Great. Let's jump into the adjustment brush. First thing I want to do is I want to mess with the sky. So I think what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and just get everything reset here, is boost the dehaze. Let's see what happens. Yeah. This is just giving us some definition back in our sky. And once again, I'm going to go ahead and select the red overlay so I can see what I've been doing. Got our new mouse pad, so I don't hear that scratch of the mouse on my desk anymore, which is kind of nice. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Yeah, I like that already a lot more. And then while we have it highlighted, we can go ahead and see what happens when we mess with other things like, you know, exposure. That looks kind of cool. Contrast. Highlights. Whites. It's kind of funny to see what happens, you know. Maybe a little bit of saturation. Awesome. I think this gives us a really dreamy sky that looks cool, but it doesn't look fake. It doesn't look inauthentic, you know. So let's go ahead and get a new adjustment brush going. With this one, I think I'm gonna just do a saturation brush. I'm going to see what happens when I go over some of this. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and select my red overlay so I can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to paint in all of this stuff. And I might not end up keeping this, but there's really only one way to find out what you want, and that's to just kind of go for it. I'm also trying to avoid this being too saturated and just being, you know, looking ridiculous. So let's see what happens. So obviously it's hard to tell too much of a difference. Okay, it's kind of nice. It's really a gentle saturation. You can boost the contrast a little bit. Maybe even the exposure. just kind of going here and playing with what this can look like, you know? Cool. I think that looks really nice. Awesome. So let's go ahead and close that one up. As far as these trees here, because there's so many of them, I can go in with a light brush and try and mess with them, but I really just don't think that's what I want to do right now. Just seems like a lot of effort to sit here and touch up each one of these. Now, what we can try, might as well, it's not a big deal, is maybe we can take a yellowish orange, kind of like a sunshine glow. Maybe we can paint down here. I can already see where I went a little haywire. Just going to clean that up with the eraser. And right off the bat, this just looks a little too orange, so let's go ahead and bump back in here and let's change that to like 50 in saturation. That looks a little bit nicer. Awesome. Cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at our comparison here. So we don't see that much different. Basically, it looks a little bit, the colors a little bit punchier. The sky obviously looks kind of like the biggest difference between the two. And then we've got a ground that's a little bit warmer and kind of matches the same color up here. All in all, I think I would call that a finished photo. I think if you wanted to get super creative, we could go in and add different lights here, but I really think that this rock, the red sandstone and whatnot, it's just magnificent enough and it's pretty enough and colorful enough where I don't really feel the want or need to go in here and try to add some colored lights coming through and bring anything out. I think this all stands for itself. Awesome. So this one is finished. Thanks for watching. I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll catch you next time. All right.